A man sits alone at his desk long after the office lights have dimmed. His tie hangs loose. His phone buzzes with yet another request. And still, he types out one more polite email, whispering the same word under his breath. Yes. Later that night, he stares at himself in the bathroom mirror. His eyes are bloodshot, his jaw tight, his reflection almost unfamiliar. It feels like he's living someone else's life. Like he's been rented out to everyone but himself. Why does your chest tighten when you even think of saying no? Why does yes feel safer, even when it hurts? Why do you smile and agree while something inside you silently begs to stop? This isn't just about being kind or easygoing. It's about a quiet war inside you, one you're losing every time you say yes to others while saying no to yourself. Kindness is beautiful when it's born from abundance, but when it's rooted in fear, it rots into something that steals your energy, your identity, even your health. We're told that being agreeable makes life smoother, but what if that smoothness is the very thing that flattens you out, turns you into a ghost of who you could be? Today, we're going to walk through the hidden signs that this is happening to you, how your quiet compliance is costing you more than you realize, and why learning to say no isn't selfish, it's survival. Because here's the truth: the man who cannot say no cannot truly say yes either. Stay with me, because you're about to see yourself more clearly than you have in years. Every day, men like you carry a quiet burden, always saying yes, always showing up, always absorbing what others won't. You agree to stay late at work while your dinner grows cold at home. You let a friend unload his anger on you, even when your own chest feels heavy. You swallow your opinion to keep the peace. And in that silence, something inside you wilts. This isn't weakness. It isn't stupidity. It's survival. Psychologists call it the fawn response, a nervous system's way of avoiding danger by appeasing others. You learned it young, maybe in a house where saying no meant slammed doors or icy silence. So you became a caretaker, a peacekeeper, a man who could read the room and mold himself to fit. David, a quiet man in Boston, once described it like this to his therapist: if everyone's happy, I feel safe. If they're upset, it must be my fault and my job to fix it. But that isn't just his story. It's yours too, isn't it? And here's the cruel paradox: the very thing you do to feel safe, the endless yes, the constant caretaking, is exactly what keeps you invisible, exhausted. Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, who called this bad faith, warned about living like an object, pretending you have no freedom, only roles to play. He said, man is condemned to be free, meaning even when you deny your choices, you're still choosing. Every time you swallow your no, you're choosing to betray yourself. So let me ask you, what unspoken price are you paying to keep everyone happy? Look around and see the quiet debt you're accumulating. Sign number 1, the apology reflex. Saying sorry for existing. There's a strange weight that settles in a man's shoulders the moment he starts apologizing for simply being. Every sigh in the room feels like his fault. Every frown, a failure he must repair. This isn't politeness. It's a quiet confession of guilt for taking up space. He says sorry for being late, even when the bus broke down. He says sorry for speaking his mind, even when he's right. He even says sorry when someone else stumbles into him. Aaron Beck, the father of cognitive therapy, found this pattern is deeply tied to distorted thoughts, believing you are responsible for everyone's emotions. He wrote, the depressed individual assumes a universal responsibility, believing that if anything goes wrong, it is because of him. One experiment at Stanford showed that men who over-apologize were more likely to report stress, headaches, shallow breathing, tight jaws. Each apology, a nail driven deeper into the coffin of his confidence. So what happens When sorry becomes your default, you start to believe it. You shrink. You teach others to expect your self-erasure. Ask yourself, how much of your day is spent apologizing for simply being? Sign number 2. The hollow self. Forgetting who you are. Mark always said yes. Yes to the overtime. Yes to helping his brother move. Yes to staying quiet when his boss mocked him in meetings. But one morning, while signing yet another document, his hand froze. He couldn't remember why he was even there, or what he wanted for himself. That night, he sat on his couch, in silence, realizing he couldn't name a single thing he did just for himself. No hobbies, no opinions of his own, no dreams that didn't involve making someone else happy. This is what happens when your yes becomes everyone else's roadmap, but never your own. You wake up, one day a stranger in your own skin. Psychologist Carl Rogers called this incongruence, when the self you show the world is so far from your real self that you no longer know who that real self is. Mark eventually sought help and started practicing something his therapist called micro-no's. Saying no to tiny things first, the extra project, the meaningless social event, until his voice began to return. So here's your reflection. If someone asked you, what do you truly want? Could you even answer? Sign number 3. The slow poison of resentment. When kindness turns sour, resentment begins as a whisper, but it grows teeth. It starts as a quiet ache in your chest, when no one notices how much you sacrifice. Then it hardens into bitterness, when they don't even say thank you. One 2012 study at the University of Kentucky found that people who suppress their anger to avoid conflict were more likely to experience sudden, disproportionate outbursts later. A psychological pressure cooker effect. This is because people-pleasing is rarely free. It's a covert contract. I give, you appreciate. But the other person never signed it. You keep smiling while rehearsing silent arguments. You hand out pieces of yourself while secretly keeping score, until you're left hollow. Friedrich Nietzsche warned of this in his description of resentment, the festering moral superiority of those too afraid to confront anger directly. Ask yourself, what quiet debts are you collecting in your heart, waiting for someone else to repay? Sign number 4. The body keeps score. When your health breaks down, Anthony was the dependable one. The man who always said yes, until one day at a family barbecue, he collapsed. Weeks of testing revealed nothing life-threatening. But his doctor finally asked, "Are you under stress?" His jaw clenched, his sleep wrecked, his stomach twisted daily. Yet he never called it stress. He called it being a good son, a good employee, a good man. Trauma expert Gabor Mate said, "When the body says no, it is because the mind has been too afraid to." Anthony began paying attention to his body, noticing how it tensed each time he agreed to something he didn't want. Slowly, he learned to breathe through the guilt of saying no, and his chest began to feel lighter. So consider, what is your body trying to tell you that your words refuse to say? Sign number 5. The existential prison. Living someone else's life. The final sign is the quietest and the deadliest. It's the sense you're just an actor in someone else's play. Your days scripted by others. Your dreams packed away like old clothes. Albert Camus called this the absurd, the tension between our desire for meaning and a life that offers none. But the tragedy of the people-pleaser is worse. You don't even get to search for your meaning. You're too busy filling everyone else's. This is the existential prison, where your choices aren't yours, your words aren't yours, and your life feels borrowed. Camus wrote, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." So imagine, what would your rebellion look like if you stopped living someone else's story? So, how do you stop this quiet unraveling? How does a man rebuild what he gave away? Here are 3 steps, each crafted to untangle the signs we've seen tonight. Solution number 1. Break the apology reflex. Anchor yourself. When you feel the sorry rising in your throat, pause and imagine you are a tree, not a branch that bends to every breeze, but a rooted trunk, steady. Stanford researchers found that people who practiced 10 seconds of diaphragmatic breathing before speaking reduced habitual apologies by nearly 40%. Instead of sorry, try thank you for waiting, or simply say nothing. Words are not owed when presence itself is enough. Solution number 2. Drain the poison of resentment. Burn the covert contract. Resentment grows because of silent deals, contracts you made in your head without telling anyone. You give and give, expecting repayment they never agreed to. Take a blank sheet of paper. Write down what you believe others owe you in return for your kindness. And then, one by one, cross those lines out. This ritual, called burning the contract in some therapy circles, is a way to free yourself from invisible debts. One study from the University of Michigan showed that participants who practiced this exercise reported a 31% drop in feelings of bitterness after just 2 weeks. You can still give, but now it's a gift, not a transaction. Solution number 3. Listen to your body's warnings. Map the tension. Your body is the first to know when you betray yourself. The stiff neck, the knot in your stomach, the shallow breath. Instead of ignoring it, learn to map it. At the end of each day, scan your body and write where you felt tension, and during which moments. Somatic therapist Peter Levine explains, trauma is not in the event, but in the body. Over time, this tension map becomes your guide, showing you exactly where to set boundaries before your body has to scream for you. So, here's the question. Where is your body already telling you the truth? If you'd only listen, they showed up quietly. These 5 signs are thieves of your life. First, in the way your lips said sorry before your mind even agreed. Then, in the hollow silence when someone asked, "But what do you really want?" Then came the bitterness, a poison disguised as patience. Your body whispered through tight jaws and restless nights. And finally, that quiet despair, when you realized you'd been living as a guest in your own story. And tonight, you named them. That matters more than you know. If you saw yourself in even one of those signs, know this: recognition is already rebellion. Every small refusal, every boundary you dare to set, is a crack in the walls that have kept you caged. So, let me ask you something no one else will. If your yes had a voice, what would it say about you? Write that below, even if it's just one sentence you've never dared to admit before. And next time, we'll open a door most men never even see until it's too late. Why even the calmest waters can hide storms beneath, and how to see them coming before they sink you. You won't want to miss it. If you felt something stir tonight, if you're ready to keep uncovering what's yours, subscribe, quietly, proudly, on your own terms. And I'll leave you with these words from Rollo May, existential psychologist of courage and freedom. The opposite of courage is not cowardice, it is conformity. And tonight, you've already chosen otherwise. You are watching Psychosophy, where psychology meets philosophy.